um, we talked a little bit about like jostling yesterday. So like picking the leg up and you can like shake it a little bit. I like to, at the ends of my massages, I will often do a little bit of traction. So my hands are a little slippery, so I'm going to use the sheet for this. But you grab around the ankle, remember, still open hand. You're just getting enough grip that you can hold. And you plant your feet and you just gently pull and hold. Morgan, how you doing with that?
Pretty good.
Every once in a while you do this, you will feel something let go and it'll like suddenly like lengthen a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't happen every time. I actually measured one of my clients after that happened. He gained like 3/4 of an inch.
Oh my God.
So I'll do a little bit of traction and then I'll do just a little bit of jostling both legs, because we just opened the hip up a little bit. So now I'm just gonna massage the hip from the feet a little bit. And I'm also, while I'm doing this, I am observing. I like to use jostling in several different ways to guide me as to what areas of the body my client needs work on. So if we were going to proceed from foot massage to higher up on the body, as I'm doing this, I'm observing Morgan's knees and Morgan's hip and just seeing if any of this movement makes it up to her shoulders or her head. And it doesn't really. I'm not seeing a whole ton of movement there. I'm also seeing a bit of stiffness in the left knee, but the left hip is more open on this side than it is on this side. So there's tension at the hip that may need to be addressed. There's a little bit of tension at the knee that might need to be addressed. And it may not necessarily be like urgent, but you can tell that she has those patterns in her muscles from the way that she moves, the way that she sleeps, the way that she walks, the way that she works. So you don't necessarily have to address everything, but you'll find that your clients may think that you have psychic powers by knowing like where these things are connected. And sometimes they're all connected. You can have things that, it's going to be your right ankle, left knee, right hip. So they'll kind of like stair step throughout the body. And it can go higher up than that too. But I've had clients where I just do a little bit of jostling and I'm like, okay, so tell me what's going on with your hip. Did you have an injury with your hip? If it's especially stiff. And then usually they'll say something like, oh yeah, I fell when I was 23 and it just has never really felt very flexible since then, or that kind of thing. But I try to transition to a peaceful closing, no matter what part of the body I'm at.
Do you tend to like to end at the neck or the head?
It depends on what I'm working on. So if I'm doing a relaxation massage, lots of times I'll start with the back and end with the neck. It's just like an easy sequence to be able to do, to just like work down the body and like back up the body and end at the head. If I'm doing treatment work, especially like for car accident cases or L&I, lots of times my clients will be in a lot of acute pain. And so the priority for those massages is trying to reduce the pain as much as possible. So the first priority is reducing pain, increasing range of motion, making it so that they can sleep at night, and just, providing a little bit of relief. So I don't necessarily work on every single part of the body, but usually by the end of their treatment sessions, we will have addressed everything. But per session, I may be spending more time on, their glutes and hamstrings and quads and back versus absolutely getting to everything. But when you're working on a client long term, that you can make your treatment plan over a period of weeks and not just one single session that you're only going to see them that once, which is one of the reasons why I really enjoy treatment work, because I see the same people over and over and over again for weeks or months, and I can come up with a really detailed treatment plan. When I worked at Massage Envy, maybe I'd see that person again if they came to me for something specific, but not necessarily. They may see another therapist. But having that treatment plan in mind gives your client confidence that you know what you're doing and that you can help them address whatever is going on.
So even if they have a specific car accident injury, you still work the whole body to some extent
Eventually.
within that visit?
Like with L&I cases, L&I is really particular about, they only want things addressed that are part of the complaint. So if you have low back pain and, they'll expect you to work on the back, the glutes, the legs. If you work on the feet, you have to be prepared that they may question that, like later on. I've gotten letters from L&I saying, okay, about this treatment, like why did you do this? And I'll have to tell them that, whatever was happening in the low back, I noticed that it was associated with something going on with the feet, and so we address that in order to address the low back pain. But other things like PIP claims, personal injury protection claims, they're not that particular. But I still want my client to feel like I'm still addressing their main complaint and not just like wandering around the body, just doing fun stuff. Because if they're in pain, they want relief. That is their biggest priority. So I want them to feel confident that I'm going to get to the places that most need to be released. All right, any other questions? Do I need to go over anything from yesterday?
Can you do the wave? You knew it was coming.
I knew it was coming. All right, so I like to do, and I'm doing it with my non-dominant hand here. So my favorite position for the wave to start out with is like right under that diaphragm line, so that when I push up, their foot will curve. You see that? All right, if I push near the toes, the foot stays flat when I'm moving it. So you don't get that like wave, like it's more like a flop back and forth action than like the wave where you're pushing up in the arch, curving the foot, bringing the toes down, and then back and forth. And you can move this as you're doing it. You can move it up and down. But that's where I like to start, just so I can get that, free up that arch a little bit.